Syrian army fighters have captured the strategic T4 airbase in Syria, driving out the Russians with curses. According to Arab and Western sources, there is a partial withdrawal of Russian units. At the same time, Moscow continues diplomatic maneuvers, aiming to maintain its military influence in the region. A convoy of Russian military vehicles rolled down the highway towards the Syrian city of Tartus on Monday, as soldiers stood guard. Planes periodically descended and rose from Russia's Hmeimim air base in the Syrian coastal province of Latakia, while smoke rose from the base. It was unclear what was burning. In the streets of Hmeimim, a town dotted with orange groves, many of the shops bear signs in Russian, a nod to the significance of the Russian military presence. But whether and how long that presence will last after the fall of former Syrian leader Bashar Assad is now an open question. Russia's scorched earth intervention on behalf of its ally, Assad, once turned the tide of the Syrian civil war. In 2017, Assad's government signed a deal with Russia that offered it a free lease of the Hmeimim air base and the Tartus naval base for 49 years. And back to Ukraine. Russian is complaining that Baba Yaga gave them a beating.
Помахай рукой. Я побегаю пизды нам гдала. Два снаряда скинул, ход разъебал. Всех 300. Пехота, мы, бля. Сегодня, блин, даже были 13 человек.
In the Zaporizhzhia direction, a unit of the 3rd Special Operations Regiment demolished a building where Russians were hiding, destroyed a concealed enemy vehicle, and struck a military-purpose golf cart. As of December 2024, the situation on the Zaporizhzhia front remains tense and complex. Russian forces have intensified their assaults along the border between Donetsk and Zaporizhzhia oblasts, reportedly making limited tactical gains. Notably, they have advanced toward villages such as Levadne and Novodorivka, aiming to disrupt Ukrainian logistics and supply lines. Despite these efforts, Russia's primary focus appears to remain on the Eastern Front, particularly in Donetsk Oblast. Analysts suggest that while the situation in Zaporizhzhia is concerning, a large-scale Russian offensive in this region is unlikely in the immediate future due to resource constraints and ongoing operations elsewhere. LOL. Crimeans, 800,000 of them of whom arrived after the annexation of the peninsula, will start having their mobile internet cut off due to the threat of it being used for Ukrainian strike drones. They say it will supposedly be turned off during mass attacks. Cellular connection apparently won't be touched, for now. On the reasons for disconnecting mobile internet in Crimea. From today, to ensure the safety of residents of Crimea, mobile internet may be disconnected, as stated by the press service of the Ministry of Information of the Republic of Crimea. This applies to any operators. It can be disconnected at any time, and not only at night as before. Many people had questions about why, what for all this is being done. Some even began to assume that special forces in Crimea were testing some new equipment for jamming communications. In fact, everything is simpler. In the drones of the armed forces of Ukraine, SIM cards of local operators are increasingly found, and in some cases, there were also mainland ones, and even from the DPR. And now, if a massive UAV attack is confirmed, the internet will be disconnected. So if the Crimeans and residents of Sevastopol suddenly lose their connection, you know what happens. Another drinking session among Russian soldiers and their revelations about their commanders and wounded comrades.
Когда в дом приходит водка, даже военные, все сидят за одним столом, ну кроме Ары. Парни, привет передаем! Ура!
Я его тяну, нас обстреливают.
Ара, все, мы все
Нас
уже 500 раз
нахлопывают.
слышали. Ара, мы 500 раз это
Пускай выговорит. Пускай выговорит, пускай выговорит.
Мне жестко это было, мне было это жестко видеть. Это реально, это, блядь, жесть была. Я его подтаскивал, как копу.
Давай.
Меня просто командир этот ебаный тихий орет. Нахуй ты его прибьешь, ты че иди нахуй? Тащи его дальше. Ты долбоеб, блядь. Лечи пацана, вас двое в окопе, затащи к себе. Перемотай ногу. Он на моих глазах не прям спину въебало. У него спина загорелась, нахуй. Там рюкзак вот так разлетелся. Я был реально там хуй знать на какой, блядь, бочке.
Жажда, славян его зовут.
Сука!
Будешь такое, блядь, говорить тяжело.
Он вышел.
Russian coal industry is in a crisis. Due to loss of Western markets and a sharp decline of demand in friendly countries, Russian coal companies have closed 9 months of 2024 with a loss of 91 billion rubles, about $875 million. That is a record among all Russian economic areas. Coal exports from Russia declined by 11.4%. Exports to China have declined by 8%, and there is no potential for their growth, Russian officials admitted, as Beijing has introduced import duties on Russian coal. Russian coal industry is an important source of revenue for the Russian budget and takes 4th place in terms of export revenues, after oil, gas, and metal. According to Rosstat, half of the enterprises in the industry, which includes more than 30 single industry towns and hundreds of thousands of employees, have become unprofitable. About 150,000 people work in the Russian coal industry directly, and over 500,000 more worked in neighboring areas in 2020. 30 monocities, where there is usually just one major employer, have about 1.5 million Russians living in them who directly depend on the coal industry for survival. Putin demanded that urgent measures are taken to support Russian coal companies as they face bankruptcies. He also demanded to revive Kuzbass, main coal region of Russia that accounts for 60% of hard coal production and 80% of coking coal. Earlier this year, employees of Inskaya coal mine in Kuzbass announced a strike because they were not paid any salary for 4 months. Local telegram channels often discuss that Russian coal miners will be sent to war, and not paying wages is one of the steps to force them to sign up as volunteers, continuing shadow mobilization in Russia.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.